Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We will now recognize a motion for the adoption of the agenda. So moved. Is there a second? All in favor will say aye. Aye. All opposed. Now, the next item is approval of the minutes. Is there a motion that the minutes be approved? There's a motion and there's a second. Any discussion? All in favor will say aye. Aye. All opposed. Next, item number 4 is to approve the monthly bills. Of course, we've been made aware of them and our clerk. But is there a motion that they be approved? Is there a second? All in favor will say aye. Aye. All right, that motion passes. Next, Main Street report. Main Street report. Come on up, Main Street.
Hey everybody, I'm Kelly Lindsay, for those who I don't think any of you don't know me, but for any of you who don't know me. And I have just started as the new director of Main Street Association this past week, so I'm still kind of getting the feel for everything. I do have some exciting news to report. We found out today that the small town revitalization grant that we knew we had been awarded, we found out the amount of that, so we will have $20,000 to spend in the pocket part, and I'll report as we go along with that what exactly that will entail. I'm looking forward to continuing the great progress that's been made, but I really don't have a lot of other information for you tonight because I haven't had a chance to even sit down with my board yet. So I look forward to seeing you guys the next time.
Well, we appreciate it and look forward to great things, and you're going to help us.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Next, we will go with the Planning Commission report.
I didn't have anything.
We don't have that. What about our Historic Preservation Committee?
That's Robbie here.
All right.
Haven't seen you in a couple of months. I've been in the hospital and had a lot of health problems, and then I had an incident in my clinic where I lost most of everything I owned. So here I am to give you a brief report. Our last regular meeting was October 29th. All of our commissioners were present, and we did pass a COA. It's for the FNB Bank. They're going to kind of expand and have drive-through, ATM, that kind of thing. So that was approved through our commission there. One point of order I need to talk to you guys about, Mickey Howley and Nicholas Trapanier's current terms are coming up as expired, and so all we need to do is ask you to reappoint those two people back to the commission because they are willing to serve another 3 years for those terms. So if I could get a motion in a second, maybe pass that.
That'll be up to the board
Yes,
as
sir.
to what y'all would wish to do, and if
Yes,
you wish
ma'am.
to do that, then you need to make a motion and a second. All right. Is there discussion? All right. All in favor of the motion then will say aye. Aye. All opposed? That is passed.
It was Nicholas and who?
Nicholas Trapanier and Nikki Howley.
Okay. Well, that is passed.
And they have just also reappointed, had a little election for the different slots of president, vice president, all that stuff. It was reported to y'all in the minutes. Are y'all getting the minutes that we forward through to you? And everybody gets those. All right. If you ever have any questions, feel free to contact me. Thank you so much for having me.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's right.
All right.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so much. Appreciate it. All right. Let's see. Now we have Ms. Elizabeth Smith.
Yes, I wanted to address some questions about the solar farm that the city has been awarded $4 to $5 million. Apparently, it's been broken down into funds that will come from the feds, the state, and then 333,000 from other sources not stated. And I'm just curious The deal was signed in May, apparently, April or May. And then there's still ongoing research being done about how this is going to affect the environment, how it's going to affect the, surrounding areas. And I did some research on my own going back as far as 2014. And it looks like all of that research has been ignored. And one of the biggest issues is, what are we going to do with these panels when their life expectancy expires? And so this organization is a governmental agency called IRENA. It stands for International Renewable Energy Agency. They did a study that back in, this was 2016, I believe. Yes. And they predicted that by the year 2050, that the discarded solar panel waste will take over the plastics waste of the entire world currently by more than double. Apparently these solar panels are not that easily discarded, and there's also more recent research that claims that perhaps in the near future they are going to consider these solar panels a hazardous waste, which will be even more expensive to deal with. The panels have a life expectancy of 30 years. And so, my question is, I guess, we've had local input requests for, let's see, local input for the flooding, local input for road repairs, local input for flood, I said that, for flood remediation. Why was there no opportunity, or why did the board members not come to the constituents or have some sort of public hearing for things that are going to cost taxpayer money? And there has been no mention in the paper of any savings for the consumer, absolutely none. It's going to save, first in May 23rd issue, $87,000 per year for the electric company. Now, with the additional purchase of land, it's going to save $100,000 per year for the electric company. No mention of savings for the consumer, because this money is going to go to the electric company to, build more infrastructure. So, I'm just going to make a couple of suggestions here, but if we're going to end up having a big issue with what to do with these solar panels when they expire, then, can we put that cost on the electric company, since they're the ones that are going to benefit, and the taxpayers are going to be paying out of pocket for this, even though we had no say in this whatsoever. And if that doesn't happen, then how about, since Kagan owns half of Main Street, let's put them on top of the buildings. Let's use that land to, produce some food. I mean, we're looking at, food shortages too. I'm just saying, I don't see where you've got a trail ride incident in one of the recent papers that Attorney Crow suggested having a public hearing on, when that was just a disagreement between two neighbors. But you can't have a public hearing on something as critical as solar panels that might end up being a Borg Warner situation down the road. We have no idea, because we've got the cart before the horse here. Here it is 5 months later after your signature, and we still don't have the environmental impacts. And if you, like I said, you can ignore what's already out there, but there are some serious concerns about what we're going to do with this waste.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Ms. Smith, and we appreciate you being with us tonight, and it's good to have citizen input. Now, let me give you some facts. First, we've gotten about $4,585,000 in our little city that has been, we've gotten, Vivian, I think the $1,500,000 from the legislature's gotten here.
We haven't gotten it yet, but it's in
It's
process.
coming.
And it's in process.
It's in process. Okay, we were awarded for the GRIP grant. Now, that has absolutely nothing to do with 12 acres of solar panel. But the GRIP grant, we were awarded, praise God, from whom all blessings flow, $1.835 million. And we were the last one to get it. But thanks be to God, we did. And the legislature has given us $1.5 million that we can match that with to fix our electric needs. And let me share this with you, and Brandon's going to share more. This thing is older than I am, and what we need to do is fix it and replace it. Our people do not need, they need the best. The people in the valley deserve the best. They don't deserve this. And that is that. The GRIP program is the Grid Resiliency Program. It has nothing to do with solar. Now, your TVA, we buy power from TVA. TVA buys solar power. They buy natural gas. They buy whatever's for sale, you know, and water. I support it all. You know, that's what we need to do. You know, when I was chairman of oil and gas, nobody could say I was an opponent of that. So, what I'm saying is, we've gotten that. In addition, we've got $500,000 for our emergency transformers south of town, and they are being constructed now, and hopefully will be here shortly, so that we won't have catastrophic 3 or 4 day outages. We've got $750,000 to help us with the internet, and by the way, our court is coming up within about 20 days on that, and where they sued the state of Mississippi and everyone else, and us. I mean, they sued Tallahatchie Valley and sued Aqua and others. So anyway, but as far as the solar, the little 12-acre thing would save. The figures I've got is around $90,000 to $120,000.
Whose figures, though? Where are they coming from?
You had your talk, and that would be. That's the figures that we've been furnished. But I will say this, and you have a right to speak, and I appreciate that. But the thing about it, those are estimates. Now, a lot of people, you can grow sheep with them and all that kind of stuff, and there are a lot of places that are putting in near here a whole lot of solar, but the industry pays for that. The city does not pay for that, and it can supply a limited portion of our electric needs, like it is right now. When you turn on the light, some of this, particularly during the day, is generated by solar. Some of it's generated by natural gas. So that's that way, and everything that this board does is adopted in public meetings. So I will say that, and but I think we need to rejoice for the GRIP grant, and I appreciate every organization in this town that supported us. There were many, and that really made a difference in us getting that. And hopefully, we're moving fast, but it's not fast enough. You can't, we need to be impatient on improvement. And now, the city electric department is us in this town, and they are they're us. I mean, they're not somebody out of Mars. They're your friends, they're your neighbors, and they're not, they're trying to do what they can do and jeopardize and risk their lives, and he can tell you about that for a little bit. All right, so let's move. I apologize for taking too much time. Now, let's move on with number 8, Robert Mays, the Yalobusha Green Wave Alliance. Robert.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I'm Robert Mays from the Yalobusha Green Wave Alliance. I think some of you know we are the group that is working on the Rails to Trails project. And I want to give a slight update today and to also ask a favor of the city. So, as most of you know, it was in the paper a couple weeks ago, we were awarded a smallish grant to help with our getting this Rails to Trails project to come to life. So we have decided to take that money and move forward with a company named Neil Schaefer Incorporated out of Hattiesburg to work with them to write a grant to get the larger funding. Their group, they have done, they worked with Natchez, they've worked with New Albany recently, $25 million grants. It's not a matching grant, it's a full grant. It's a raised grant, and it's through the USDOT, Department of Transportation. So they have a very good track record with this. What we do need from the city is we need to work with y'all to have them submit on behalf of the city, or if it's Water Valley submitting it on our behalf, but they're doing all the work as far as the contract goes. Kagan Coughlin has agreed to be the single point of contact. All that we need is for y'all to okay that we can work with Neil Schaefer to submit this grant for Water Valley, but on behalf of the Yalobusha Green Waves Alliance.
So are you asking us to enter into a resolution supporting the plan?
So, let me,
Thank you.
should have gave that.
Yeah, it's a resolution. So
Yeah.
a resolution authorizing Neil Schaefer to prepare and submit a raised grant application for the Rails to Trails project in Water Valley. Whereas the City of Water Valley seeks to enhance community connectivity and active transportation options to basic goods and services, promote sustainable infrastructure, etc. Use DOT for building that infrastructure, etc. Skipping down a lot. Authorization, the City Council authorizes the City of Water Valley to serve as an applicant, the mayor to execute all required documents, and Neil Schaefer to prepare and submit the raised grant application for Rails to Trails project on behalf of the city. The city commits to an ongoing collaboration with Yalobusha Greenways Alliance, which will serve as a liaison to facilitate community involvement. The city, in consultation with Neil Schaefer and Yalobusha Greenways Alliance, commits to establishing a plan to address any potential cost overruns to ensure the project. The city, in consultation with Neil Schaefer, commits to establishing a plan to address any potential cost overruns to ensure the project's completion.
And that's what we worked with Kagan. He is going to be that point of contact.
The city designates Kagan Coughlin of Yalobusha Greenways Alliance as the primary point of contact to coordinate the project communication and progress with the city council, Neil Schaefer Inc., and other relevant stakeholders. The resolution shall take effect immediately upon passing.
And all the fees, we're covering all of those from our grant and from private donations. We're not asking.
You're not
any
asking,
money.
you're not
Nope.
asking.
I'm not asking, we're not asking y'all for anything other than you would be the person, you would be the grantee on our behalf.
When's the deadline to apply for the
That
grants?
is middle of January. I can get you an exact date if you need that.
Well, what do y'all say? Motion, second.
Is everything in order, Daniel?
I don't know, I just saw it.
Do we need to,
We have a special meeting coming up.
We have a
on the
special
8th,
meeting on the 8th.
Which is,
gotta give Daniel time to look at it a little bit more?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Yeah, and the sooner we get this back to them, the sooner they can start their preparations
And
for
now,
writing the grant.
You will not, there will be no cost to the city now. You.
you want us a copy of this, or you go leave this with us?
Okay.
There
Okay,
you go.
thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, now, let's,
Thank you.
Electric Department advertise for emergency line maintenance. Randy?
Yes, sir, that'd be,
Bring your exhibit A. Go ahead. Tell them about your experience the other day.
this here. Well, yesterday's outage,
Tell them what happened.
okay. So this is a set of bales that was put in behind the BTC. And as you know, we're putting the charging station in down there. Anyway, the plan was to work this energized with a contracting group, and we did. We attempted it, and anyway, right in the middle of it, this is an automatic sleeve that was cut into the line to splice it.
How many times has that line been spliced?
Well, there's
You told me 100.
a bunch of times up and down that street now. There's all these splices in that up through there. But anyway, yesterday we like to have could have been bad. One of these sleeves, they had untied the phase and was, picking up on it, putting a little pressure on it. And one of these sleeves turned loose, and in that process, this line hit the ground. Of course, it was energized. It fell across the truck and hit a man on the shoulder. It wasn't wet, so it didn't shock him. Pretty bad.
Then you did what?
I immediately took it amongst myself, and I went to the substation and I shut that breaker off. I didn't ask no question. I did it. And as you work on these old power lines around here, you might as well expect outages. Maybe planned, maybe not. Just with what you got to work with around here, it's 110% safer, as old as it is, to kill it. Period. Can't help who it upsets or who it inconveniences. It don't inconvenience anybody else no more than it does us.
We don't want to inconvenience anybody more than you have to, but I understand. You were doing that for
110% safer.
life. For somebody's life.
And it's like this, I've been here 18 and a half years, and
So in other words, you were attempting to change the pole out without turning the power off.
To avoid, we tried we tried to time the maintenance so that it would be the least disruption. When we did we knew about it, but this is something they had no idea that was going to happen, Brandon.
Unanticipated emergency.
It's an emergency. And that, if anything we can do now we're making, we've got these monies, but, as soon as we can get them some help, I think we'd be advised to do that. Any questions of Brandon? And now tell them what you want here, Brandon.
well, and this would be, as it stands, we basically down to 4 people now. One of our guys left, or he's in the process of leaving. This would be in the event of major storms coming, or everybody knows my brother and I work here together. Our family's getting older. It may be a day where the line just hit the ground, and if it's some emergency, family emergencies or anything of that nature, I'm gonna be where my family is. And over 18 years, there's nobody else to stay here, pull call, do any of that. And ultimately that boils back to money.
Is that paid?
That could be emergency, or in the event if we needed help to do something.
So what we were proposing was, or in our discussions, we were thinking that we would advertise like we did for the engineering services, where they show us per hour, per man, and like per vehicle, per charge, per hour. And so if we did have an emergency and we called them, we would know what the costs were going to be preset, and we would also be able to, of course, get competing bids for those similar
Proposals, I think we call it.
proposals. Yes, sir.
Because
Yes, sir. For those similar.
And that would it pick up on the, like if we go to reconducting and rebuilding the town, or what have you,
when we do that, we're gonna make sure that that happens. You know, there's gonna be if private people do it, there's gonna be a proposal process on that.
Certainly.
It needs to be. And so people would get a bite at the apple. If it's not done in-house, then Free Enterprise, they're gonna get open covenants openly arrived at. But this would help with their situation at this point, if y'all want. That's what they're requesting.
Okay, we need a proposal.
Need a motion and a
Yes,
second.
Motion.
And is there discussion on this? All in favor then would say aye. And all opposed? All right, Brandon.
Brandon, we do wanna thank you for your actions that you did take. You know, we know that you had the city in mind, you had your people in mind, and you had our citizens in mind, and we do appreciate you.
thank
The human life is,
No, that's number one.
you can't put a value on that. Now, let's move on to,
I just have to put that in the minutes that I attended.
well, I'll tell you what, and
It's not a
she
big deal,
deserves
but
a
the law-
recognition.
I have to put it in the minutes.
All right, well,
deal, but-
everybody, we acknowledge that.
Yes, sir.
Does everybody agree we acknowledge it? Motion second for the acknowledgement of it. All right. And then, North Central, agreement signed for services, I guess we would need a motion and second
Yes,
to
sir.
approve those, and that would be that is our planning development district for, grant application, authorization. There's a motion, there's a second, motion second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All right, next, Mark is with us on number 13, the county fire agreement. Mark?
This is just the annual agreement that we do with the county for mutual aid. We start at the local level, aiding the county. The county starts to aid the state aids the federal. So that's all this is. We've signed it several times. They put it, we usually do it around March, I think, but the last one they gave us was for like 4 or 5 years. And I said, we can't do that like that, so they redid it. And
We need to do it annually.
It's an annual, and that's what that's supposed to be, because, you know, the law would provide for that, actually. All in favor, is there a motion? All in favor, motion second. All in favor say aye. All right, next would be item 14, the forms, Vivian.
Yes, sir. Ms. Gilda Reyes, she called me and she told me just to have these approved.
And that's our
That's our
1.5 million.
She just wants the forms approved in the meeting.
She could turn it down, but I don't think we want to do that.
And she's not gonna do it either. She's real good work.
And that's for the electric department.
Yes, sir.
For their improvement for the citizens, to match the federal fund. Motion, is there a second? All right, all in favor will say aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, it passes.
Well, could I take just 2 seconds?
Take 2 seconds.
Well, there was a time about a year and a half, 2 years ago, when the idea that we would have $3.3 million to make improvements to our electric department was well beyond imagination. So for everybody, I think that's just such a giant achievement, and I just wanted to reiterate that.
Well, you know, when we all work together, good things can happen. And that's what it takes. And maybe, I hope that,
I apologize for the error. I've had it worked on 2 days this week. I mean, Monday and Tuesday.
I can't believe you'd ever make an error, but you generally don't, I'm gonna tell you. You know.
Oh, no, I can't.
She keeps us straight, tries to. Now, we've got, the auditorium, we're extending the bid, the architect has requested that we extend the bid deadline with a view toward obtaining sufficient bids on the auditorium. Vivian, he has requested that, so we will can do that. Now, there's a special, now this, you know, we might have to meet, we'll have to meet according to what,
We may have to do it on the 18th.
yeah.
But we said it's gonna be that other one
We
anyway,
can, we
right?
can, yes, ma'am, we can see about that, and then special meeting on November 18th. Now, we hopefully have some local interest, I hope, in our auditorium situation.
Are we gonna
and,
use the 18th for the extension?
Yeah, I hope so.
Okay.
We'll
I'll
check
look that
with
up.
the architect tomorrow. Christmas dinner, December 9th, and hopefully that'll recognize some of our good people that make, that do so much for us in our city. And we've got holidays, Veterans Day, we wouldn't be here without them. And that comes up on the 11th. Thanksgiving, of course, we be thankful. Christmas, 2 days, and then New Year's, we will accept those. And now that's been proclaimed.
Yes, sir.
We can make a motion to approve that. Second, all in favor say aye. Jason? And I see we've got cameras at the park after that, and we can talk about that too, Jason, and see about that. All right, Jason, go ahead.
Yes, the board approved, and I forget exactly, a while back for BCI or somebody to put a Fortnite antivirus on the city computers. I've asked them multiple times to take it off, and they refuse, so I'm now asking the board to either stop paying or allow us to take it off. Reason being, about 6 times it's blocked programs we needed to use at a time, and it's always seems to be 1 or 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning we need to do this, and they're not available. And Christy informed me, as of here lately, when we turn in a service ticket to have these programs unblocked that they blocked, we got a $120 bill. So they're charging us to fix a problem they created. And these aren't just, I mean, these aren't just programs. These are, the most recent program was the state changed the intoxilizer system we write for use for DUIs. In the course of that changing it, the state crash report system has got an addition of forms that we have to complete to give them a certificate of their driver's license. Something we need. We cannot even download that onto our computers without them coming to the station and charging us, let's see, $120.
Can I ask
So-
Daniel, let me ask Daniel a question. Daniel, what can we,
Well, it says that we're allowed to terminate upon notice, effective 90 days after written notice, but it says all outstanding balances and all charges for hardware and software, including work in progress, and for professional services ordered are immediately due, which is not so much an issue, but I do want to know what that would be.
I'm not sure what it is.
And so I would like to know a current balance from them before we,
And on a side note, our computers are independently protected behind firewalls with our NCIC to Jackson. That requires a firewall. Our reporting system is housed at the C Spire server in Starkville, which is behind multiple firewalls to even get there. So our computers are protected, at least the police department computers are protected anyway. And all this is adding is a further complication. I mean, we get cell phones dumped in investigations, and we have to call them to be able to unblock the program that reads the cell phone. And if that happens at one, we had a major incident. We were given some security camera footage about 1 o'clock in the morning. In the process of trying to review it, the person that gave it to us, their system had its own player, which is not that uncommon. You had to download that player to your computer off the flash drive that was given to us, and we couldn't do it at 1 o'clock in the morning, and we're looking for a shooter. I mean, that's several months ago. So this is major for us. And I understand the risk, but I also understand the first 4 years we've done exactly the same thing we've done with no problem, and all of a sudden now we can't
well,
do it. So
they have to provide good
this
service.
needs to go.
Why they won't remove the software?
because y'all ordered to put it on there.
But I mean, we,
It was kind of some of that off the top that Tim Bell came in with.
And they tell me I need it, and in their words, I don't know what I'm talking about.
well, they're IT defense guys.
And I get where they're coming from, but on the last bill, they created me a
BCI.
administrative password that was supposed to override the blocks when I needed them to. Well, since that time, they charged, looks like a third of an hour to create that.
Can you see that invoice when you're done?
How many bills have they sent you?
That's the first one I've seen, Miss Christie sent me.
I don't know if it just started or not, but she just brought it to my attention.
Yeah,
So I
so-
don't know, we could research that.
I'm not 100% sure, that's just the first one.
So this may not
And
be the-
it kind of honestly got under my skin that you're charging me to fix a problem you created. I mean, if I go to the mechanic and he punches a hole in my tire and he charges me for a new tire, I'm gonna be a little upset.
It's a good analogy.
Daniel, what,
So,
are they in breach,
I mean,
their end of it?
but it just seems to never fail in our line of work being 24/7. Most of the time we run into these issues, it's not during normal business hours where I can just,
You want to investigate this, and
Yes,
at
sir.
one of our special meetings, Vivian, if we could put that on the agenda for the special meeting,
Good thing.
well,
18th.
18th, and that would, or whatever, and give you an opportunity to.
Now, the whole point of this was for like a McAfee kind of situation. Their BCI was,
It's on all our computers.
but it's for defense.
But you haven't run into any
I
problems?
don't have any problems.
Okay.
see, we have to do things, and from a
I think
police
Christie
department
has
and
had,
an
I think Christie
investigation.
might have had one or two, but I've never had.
Every
one.
once in a while, we
shady.
have to do things that are a little sketchy.
Say what?
I mean, if you were to research some of the things we research professionally.
Oh, that, okay.
They would come
Not
after,
y'all
people,
doing.
we would come after you. It's not
Okay.
sketchy, it's just some of the things we have to look at and do
Yeah.
and upload. And then the program that was blocked with the DUI system was off the Department of Public Safety's website.
That was
So,
silly.
That's the,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, it's from a state website, we can't even download.
Maybe we could come to an understanding.
I think that could be the way
With
to
BCI.
do that, and say that
'Cause
we
it-
won't, if you won't.
It's a service we need. It's just they're
But I'm saying, but we also have it through other sources. This is adding to.
Why don't you investigate, Daniel, for us,
Yes.
and work with Jason, and y'all work together and see if we can come with a joint recommendation.
agreed. Yes, sir.
All right, now, cameras in the park, and I have heard, I'll say this, I feel that the citizenry would be better off if we had cameras, in our parks.
I completely agree.
And I think we need to, park needs to be safe.
There's only one realistic problem with that.
Money, I know that,
They're high,
I know, and.
they're good ones.
I know, and
extremely high.
but we need to work toward, would you agree that we need to work toward the goal of having those
Yes,
in
in
our
the
area?
last round of Homeland Security grants, which were March, April-ish is when we applied. I forget exactly. We did put in a Homeland request for 10 at that time. We were just denied the grant. So we started exploring other possible grants and ways we can do it, but those 10 were $75,000.
Tell you what, we might ought to ask for congressional directed appropriation,
Yes, sir.
just to be called the earmark, but we don't call it
So,
anything.
I mean, the good cameras that are worth having are anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000 a piece.
I tell you what, we've got a situation in some of these parks, and could be any of them, that, that people just don't feel safe. And,
I mean, I'm all for them. I wish we could put one from one end of the city to the other. I won't argue, I won't lie about that at all.
if we can work toward it, and, and
Yes, sir.
try every kind of means that we can of application for grant funding or otherwise.
Yes, sir.
Now, rural development, has that, if has a program, and, and others too, so, but that's only 50,000 grant for, 50,000 more than we had, so. But at any rate, if we can work on that, anything else, Jason?
Not unless we wanna skip to 22 while I'm here, if I need to be in on that or not.
Well,
Before we move on to that, can I make a comment?
Okay, go ahead.
Mayor?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
first of all, I wanna
Absolutely.
thank you, Chief, and your officers, for coming out on Sunday, obviously. You did a great, were there for several hours investigating, questioning people.
And been back every day this week so far.
Yes, and definitely appreciate that. I know it's a work in progress. We're talking about cameras, and I would also like improved lighting at Baker
Absolutely.
Street Park. We talked about safety, and safety is number one. I live right there at that park on East Lee Street.
Yes, ma'am.
Everything that goes on, I can look out my window or walk outside and I see everything going on. So we definitely, I know, Mayor, we've been talking about making improvements to the park, doing some things, and it's definitely a priority.
You got some older people that live around there.
Exactly.
They need, they need respect.
Exactly.
And, they don't need,
So I know we'll have
trouble.
continued talks about this, but I just want to thank you and thank your officers.
Yes,
Thank you
ma'am.
so much.
I think they were, if I remember right, looking at the times, I think they were there less than 2 minutes
Yes.
for the call.
We
Very
need to,
quick.
we need to look
Yes.
into lighting as well, and I think we're looking into the, the cameras, but lighting definitely, you can, if you're gonna do evil, you don't like light.
Exactly.
That was it.
I think that was the problem that the electric department was having over there.
The clerk gonna shoot them out.
They fixed the lights and then they
A
put
lot
the
of
lights out.
It's been a never-ending battle with them, but I mean, they've done their best to stay on top of it. I will give them all the credit in the world for
Yeah,
that.
that's right,
They
and they
really
got
have.
some new lights, and they put new lights. But,
Also, Mayor, we have the park ordinance here. I'd like to table this until our next meeting
Okay.
to give everybody a chance to review this.
look at that.
Yeah, so we can come back to this.
Daniel, you,
Yes, sir.
get up to speed on, I know you are up to speed, but
Yeah.
get even more up to speed on that, so we can look at that. Anything else, Jesse?
I think
Anything
that's
else?
the one. The speed bumps.
Well, all right, what about, let's do 21, Christie, approval for certified clerks 3-year program.
Yes, it's a 3-year program. She'll go twice a year, spring and fall sessions, and I would just like her to take this class.
All right, and quite frankly, you can't get too much education as a city clerk, and,
I've had it, but I
I
don't want
know,
to refresh
but-
myself. I'm gonna let her refresh herself.
Well,
Let's don't do it anymore.
motion and second needs to be approved to do that. All in favor, say aye. Well, I'm gonna tell you, clerk, is just vital the way this system operates. If you don't have, that's really your control point. All right, next, we have item 22, Alderman, Bolson.
Okay, I know that we talked about this several years ago about the speed bumps, but for Boyd and Askew streets, those streets are very narrow. I've been in that area a couple times in the past 2 weeks. We have some residents that are here from that area, and I know, Chief, that officers have been out in that area, and I know they can't sit there all day, every day, because other things are going on in the city. So that's why I'm asking for, I know speed bumps are a liability, but something there to slow them down. Because they zoom through that area, don't stop at the stop sign. I mean, going out in the county to Palestine Road, and then coming back on Boyd, and then from Askew going around the curve to Lafayette Street.
It's a racetrack.
It's a racetrack.
It doesn't need to.
And there are children that can't even come out and play in their yard for fear of being injured. And that's a problem. We have to do something. Now, we can put up signs, slow children, but there also needs to be something on that street, on those streets.
You set up a bucket truck in the road and they pass you up on the side of the railroad track.
Exactly. It's dangerous. We have to do something.
Or
So,
even a mailbox, we went round and round about mailboxes. And so the post office, after 6 months, we had to put it on the embankment. My neighbors here,
Ours has been there.
and it was hit 4 times in about 3 months. So when I was forced, I now have 2 mailboxes. I'm probably the only person in Water Valley that has 2. I refused to move the good one across the street. So we just found bars and put one out, and we painted it bright orange. You can't miss it. But it's not to say somebody can't hit it. I mean, because the streets are so narrow and people do. I could probably go out in a parking lot and pick out a few cars and trucks that go by there a lot at speed.
Right. I mean, you put up on Young Street.
Go ahead, make your comment, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Aaron.
My question, I mentioned this before, is that I'm very slow with my legs. My legs are bad, my back is bad. And my concern with the hill there on the right-hand side when you're coming off Askew up Lafayette is that it is so narrow and I can't get up that hill. Not enough time to get out of somebody's way. So, you know, I want to live a long time, you know, so it's...
We want you to.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor, thank you. So, I mean, and the speed is ridiculous. We all know it, a lot of us know it. I would just like to see something done. That's my only comment. I can't get up that hill. There's a hill there, and if something happens, you know, in the winter times, a little ice in the road or something, I can't get up that road, up that hill, rather.
Well, this isn't the Dukes of Hazzard around here. We don't need that. This is Water Valley. Well, this is Water Valley.
Yeah, and Mr. Mayor, there are no speed limit signs on Lafayette Street.
Well, there's a general speed limit, but there could be a lower speed limit if you wish to.
Well, but there's no speed limit.
signage on that.
Well, they could, then,
25
But there's
yeah,
no.
we can, there should be, and it should be signage, I mean, you know, safe children. So, now, that is a good thing, I've seen that a lot in places. Some people actually look at that. So that would look like to me, that would be good. And then, you know, then the other, you know, there needs to be some methods for the safety of these people.
It's, you know, growing up in a larger city, you've got these subdivisions that are planned out, and and one of the beautiful things about this town is that we have so many thriving communities that are just happened organically, for lack of a better way of saying it. But one of the things is as these communities grow, and the children and the people that move there, which we're very thankful for y'all investing in our town, if we could make those streets, which are purely not thoroughfares, less desirable of the way to get from point A to point B. That's what people are doing, they're taking a shortcut. There's numerous ways to get around there. But if y'all were discussing, I mean, just simply some type of, if you had a road, a speed bump at the beginning and end, just going over that at the beginning and end would make it less desirable.
And make it so it wouldn't, you know, within the standards that you can do, you know, with the highway, that you can, if you comply with those standards.
Right.
As far as liability, you can do it if you comply with those standards.
But mentally, it makes it a less desirable thoroughfare.
Right. Yeah, but there's a way to do that.
With teenagers,
yeah. You want to get that just right, and you could do that, but you gotta do it. Land on the.
I think that's true.
Okay, well, I mean.
Dips are better than bumps.
Dips?
Yes.
Yeah.
How do you make a dip?
Dig a hole.
You know, like,
Dips are better than bumps. 100%.
I agree with that.
Well,
We could do a thermo speed bump like the state does, like they could come in and shoot a thermo strips across there. Kind of, and that would get them to slow down. They'd have to slow down some for their vehicle.
Like,
The people fly down
it's
Market
like
Street
pulling
right
out-
across
They,
there.
It's
they
the
just
funky
float
bumps when you
on
pull up to a stop sign on the highway.
Yeah, the thing.
so you think the
Like on
dips
Market
might
Street,
do
they don't-
something?
they don't
They
work.
don't.
Okay.
I believe a dip, in my experience, and even just my personal driving, dips work better than bumps.
Y'all want
Like
y'all want some investigation to be done on this and
Make a-
report back?
Make a
to us?
rubber rubber mount that you can bolt down to the
Well, that-
road.
Okay.
I think rubber pad, not like some of the other what we had.
Well, y'all work together and y'all come up with some ideas for us. If y'all are agreeable with that, I think we need to do something.
If my first suggestion would be lower the speed
Well,
limit.
you can certainly do that, and that's what, you know.
No, I don't want to put you up in that.
I mean, put the speed limit at what, 10?
Water
Fifteen.
I would say 15.
15.
Yeah, you don't want it, 10 might be, you know.
Well, you're just trying to get people not to go down it.
Yeah.
Like, what business you have to go down in?
15 would be, yeah, Ole Miss is 18,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, that is slow now that you mention it.
18 works up there.
Put the signs up about kids.
And then,
slow down
15 or
for
20, I mean,
kids.
15 or 20, I wouldn't go any above 20, but anywhere in that
They're
neighborhood.
around that 15.
15.
Because listen, I mean, if you do 15, we'll give you a little grace for
On
tire
the-
size and wear, you're
on the
looking at
particular
20,
streets
25,
that
so
we're
you're still
talking
getting the speed
about.
limit,
and then,
the real world down to 20 or 25.
and were it to happen to get a bad reputation for
Yeah.
tickets, then it would be less desirable.
And boards.
Kind of different.
Theoretically.
Well, everybody needs to respect other people. That's the main thing about it, and that'll help them to do
Bad
that.
asking,
Mr. Mayor,
to start with.
there are signs over there. We have, there's a sign in my front yard that I had put up 20 years ago. Y'all put it up, of course. It's also the one in the curve that says 5 miles an hour. They're so old that, you
Yeah,
know, they're
they're
laid
not.
out, but with all due respect, they don't
Well,
work.
I will say
They don't
this,
work.
if we had,
Signs ain't working either.
the signs may not
Is that sign white or yellow?
It's
gonna be
it's
yellow.
great.
Well, see, the problem with that,
It's old.
if it's the old yellow ones, that's not a limit, that's a
Right.
suggestion.
Suggestion.
yeah, well, you're gonna have what you do will be, you won't be shooting a blank.
Right.
Okay.
And then once they get a ticket, you see the signs or speed limit.
No, but
Yeah, we
they
sign
won't,
both
and
ends.
you'll need to investigate some other things.
And if that can give, that gives us a better chance of enforcement.
Right. When they actually see the speed
Y'all,
limit
y'all
sign.
Look
work,
under
y'all,
the dips.
well, y'all work together and try to come up with something that would do some good.
Yeah.
And look at what some other folks do too. Okay, is that, anyone else, any questions of Jason? Now, there is a, go ahead.
Thank
There's a
you.
request that we go in for, Jason, there's a request that we go in to consider, personnel matters on personnel issues for police and, street. Is there a motion that we have a closed determination on the issues of personnel management for those two departments? There's a motion for closed determination. Is there a second? Second. All in favor of the closed determination will say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, what time do you write that down?
7:24.
Now, is there a motion that the board now go into executive session for the purposes that I described, which would be, take care, for the street and also police. Motion, second. And what time are we doing this? 7:24. All in favor say aye. All opposed? All right.
You may have heard of us, but you might not know Bank First is a community bank that has no-fee ATM access, interest, and perks earning checking accounts, with online and mobile banking, mortgages for every stage of life, and modern business banking for businesses, small and big. We keep it all together to put you first. Do you bank with us? You should.